Bonjour, mes amis. Je suis Dr. Pierre. Welcome aboard, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, welcoming you to another live edition of the Dr. Glidden Show, a.k.a. Fire Your MD Now, where we talk about science-based, clinically verified alternatives to the rather old-fashioned, outdated, archaic strategies that the MDs have developed and delivered to the unassuming citizens of the world over the last 200 years. Remember, in the same manner that it would be perhaps unwise of you to go to a chiropractor if you needed open heart surgery or a bullet removed from your arm, it is also unwise of you to bring a body suffering with a chronic disease to the office of an MD, because the MDs are not trained to be concerned with the cause of your disease, nor are they trained in how to cure it. Their training is in how to suppress the symptoms of your illness, period. And under their care, arthritis has risen dramatically. High blood pressure has risen dramatically. Obesity has risen dramatically. Alzheimer's has risen dramatically. Autism has risen dramatically. And our life expectancy has gotten worse. We've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. The worst possible thing you can do if you're suffering with a chronic health condition, asthma, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, anything of a chronic nature, is to bring your body to an MD, because they are clueless about what causes it, and they are incapable of helping your body to cure it. Not even trained to be able to consider a cure. Think about heartburn. Does your medical doctor might be the nicest person God ever created, might be the most humble, awesome, compassionate human being ever. But by virtue of their training, does your MD know what causes or how to cure heartburn? No. They can manage it with a little purple pill, but they can't cure it. And ponder this, young Jedi. To the profession that does not even know how to cure heartburn, we have given nearly $1 trillion to come up with a cure for cancer. And I wonder why everybody is still sick and suffering with cancer, because we've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. Period. This in from Medscape.com. Good news. Everybody who's over 40 years of age at one point in time undoubtedly has had an MD or a nurse tell them that taking vitamins is a fool's errand and that vitamins don't work, and that the only thing that vitamins do is give you expensive urine, which is nonsense. I mean, that's like saying beer doesn't work either, because, it gives you expensive urine. The more beer you drink, the more you pee. I guess that alcohol doesn't do anything while it's passing through the body and being eliminated, right? It doesn't do anything. Older patients with very low levels of vitamin D, like David, have 122% increased risk for dementia compared with those with higher levels, according to a large prospective population-based study. This from Medscape.com, written by Pauline Anderson, August 6, 2014. Are we ahead of the curve? Yes, we are. We've been advising people to take vitamin D supplements along with the other 89 essential nutrients for a long time. Vitamin supplementation is mandatory. Vitamins are essential. There are 16 essential vitamins. What's the definition of an essential nutrient? An essential nutrient, whether it's a vitamin, a mineral, an amino acid, or an essential fatty acid, is something that the human body needs, but the human body cannot make. It is something without which something in the body starts to fail. Vitamin D, like David, is an essential nutrient. Name of this article, Vitamin D and Dementia, a very close tie. Read that as a very close relationship. The article goes on to say the study provides robust evidence of the link between vitamin D and cognition and adds important new information to the association, said the study author David J. Llewellyn, Ph.D., Senior Research Fellow in Clinical Epidemiology, University of Exeter, United Kingdom. Although earlier research had also uncovered this link, we were able, with much greater accuracy, to sort of chart the level of vitamin D that seems to be relevant to dementia risk. It gives us valuable clues as to the kind of trials we should be doing next. So why the hell do you need to do trials? Why don't you just recommend people take vitamin D? Well, I know why, because there's no profit in that. Vitamin D is a naturally occurring substance. And since you cannot patent a naturally occurring substance, since you can't go to Washington, D.C. and patent orange juice or buttercups or oxygen, can't do that in the UK either, there's no profit motive in supplying it to the sick and suffering members of humanity, right? Because if it's not patentable, anybody can make it. If anybody can make it, the profit margin goes into the basement. This is why MDs are all about synthetic pharmaceutical drugs, because a synthetic pharmaceutical drug is a biochemical, a molecule which has never, ever existed before in the universe. Well, at least on the earth plane which we inhabit. So, for instance, the MDs assume that women in menopause need extra hormones, right? They assume that. That's an incorrect assumption. They don't need extra hormones. They need help balancing the hormones that their bodies are naturally able to make in different levels and different amounts at different ages of life. They don't need extracurricular injected hormones or intravaginal hormones or oral hormone supplementation, but that's not how the MDs were trained. So years ago in the 60s, the MDs decided, well, you know what, all these postmenopausal women with hot flushes and mood swings, well, that's a hormonal problem. So what are we going to do? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to make a man-made hormone. We're not just going to give women natural human estriol or estradiol or estrone or natural human progesterone. We're not going to do that. We could do that, but we're not going to do that because we're smarter than God. We're smarter than nature. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take 2 parts horse hormone and 1 part human hormone. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Equilin, equilase, and estrone. Equilin, equilase, and estrone. We're going to mix those together in a nice concoction. We're going to call it Premarin, and we're going to deliver it to hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of women in order to manage the symptoms of menopause. Oh, by the way, Premarin gets its name Premarin because the horse hormones are extracted from the urine of pregnant mares. Premarin. How about that? And I'm the quack, right? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 2 parts horse hormone and 1 part human hormone. We're going to mix those together. That molecule has never existed on planet Earth before, so guess what? We can patent that. And if we can patent it, we're the only ones that make it. And if we're the only ones that make it, if we can convince enough women to take it, well, life is good. Yeah, life is good if you're the doctor, not so much if you're the patient. 3 major side effects of Premarin: breast cancer, uterine cancer, and thrombophlebitis, which is fancy schmancy doctor talk for big bad voodoo daddy stuff. So the MDs create a synthetic man-made drug to increase their profits. Instead of just giving normal human estrogen, which you can do, normal human progesterone, which they could have done. Oh, there's no profit margin in that because anybody can make that. Those are called bioidentical hormones, right? Anybody can make that. A compounding pharmacist can make that and lickety-split. But we're not going to do that. We're going to give women man-made synthetic horse hormone / human hormone hybrid, and then we're amazed when it produces nasty side effects. But we're not amazed enough to withdraw it from the market. Women in the 70s started to catch wind of the problem with Premarin all by themselves, and so they just stopped taking it of their own volition. They told their MDs, look, we're not going to take this crap anymore. And by that time, the data was in, and you could see that there was a direct correlation between increased incidences of breast cancer, increased incidences of uterine cancer, and increased incidences of inflammation in the veins, especially in the lower legs. And so what did the pharmaceutical industry do? They continued to sell it. You can still get Premarin in the United States, but they stopped advertising it and promoting its use in the United States and the European Union, and they're mostly disseminating it now in third world countries where women just aren't educated enough to know any better. Your medical doctor at play in the field of human suffering. And these are the people that we've given our abject allegiance to. These are the people that we put up on the medical pedestal. These are the people that we go to when we're sick and scared. These are the people whom we trust. Now, quite frankly, just this one issue of the delivery, the manufacture and the delivery of this one drug should be enough to make any reasonable, rational human being with an IQ over 30 question the intellectual integrity of their medical doctor. Because if you were involved with a profession, if you were a member of the Chamber of Commerce in, whatever state that you live in, you're an active member of the Chamber of Commerce, you paid your yearly dues, you paid your monthly dues, you went to all of the meetings, you went to all of the events, and you were an active supporter of the Chamber of Commerce. And you found out that the president and the vice president and the treasurer of that Chamber of Commerce were in cahoots and were swindling and hurting people. What would you do? Do you continue to be a member of that Chamber of Commerce? No. You take action. Why don't the MDs take action? Because they have no intellectual integrity, and your health is not their concern. Fire your MD now and stick around. There's so much more to come. Welcome back, everybody. Scott is my witness. The only reason that people continue to contract the services of their MD is because they're the only show in town. And, if you don't know anything about anything, if you don't really have an eye towards history, you can make improper conclusions, and it happens all of the time. So people look around and they see, well, son of a gun, the only type of medicine that's legally allowed to be practiced in my state is MD-directed medicine. The only medicine my insurance pays for is MD-directed medicine. The only medicine that they practice in my local hospital is MD-directed medicine. Therefore, the MDs must be the best at what they do. And this would be, a rational conclusion to make if you did not know anything about the history of the evolution of medicine in the United States or in Canada or in the European Union. The MDs are in the driver's seat of medicine not because their therapeutics are better, not because their therapeutics are more effective, not because their therapeutics are more scientific, not because their therapeutics are less expensive. They're in the driver's seat because we do not have a free medical market, and they legislated themselves into first place. They bullied everybody else off of the bus in the early 1900s. They kicked the chiropractors, the naturopaths, the homeopaths off of the bus of medicine. Kicked them off, made it illegal to practice medicine. Unless you were an MD who prescribed drugs. It's a pretty good deal for the MD. Wouldn't you love to have that business? Wouldn't you like to be the only person allowed to sell hamburgers in your state? Wouldn't you like to be the only person that can do plumbing in your town? Nobody else can do plumbing here, only me. Nobody else can put the roofs on houses in the great state of Illinois except my company. Yeah, wouldn't that be good for you? Would be good for you, be great for you, be awesome for you, but not for everybody else. This is why we're in such a pickle, because absolute power corrupts absolutely, and, just get a clue. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. The MD profession is the leading cause of death in the United States, and we give them a pass. No MD goes to jail. Nobody's hands get slapped. There are no fines levied. Maybe the pharmaceutical company has to pay a pittance. But the MDs don't get into any trouble. Leading cause of death in the United States. The only reason that we put up with this nonsense is because we don't know any better. We have incorrect conclusions about the nature of medicine. Because the MDs have also gone out of their way to tell you that I'm a quack. Put members of my profession behind bars. Completely denigrate the homeopathic medical profession, completely denigrate everybody but themselves. The American Medical Association was found guilty in the mid-'80s for promoting a 10-year slander campaign against the chiropractors. Found guilty in federal court of slandering the chiropractors on purpose. Fined $25 million, or maybe it was 10. I can't remember. It was a pittance. The damage had been done. Most people, even today, think that the chiropractors have some kind of substandard, dangerous treatments. It's nonsense. Good chiropractor is worth their weight in gold. Chiropractic medicine is awesome. Naturopathic medicine is awesome. Homeopathic medicine is awesome. Acupuncture, Ayurveda, awesome. Should be licensed and regulated and paid for by insurance in all 50 states, but it is not. Because the American Medical Association and the pharmaceutical industry does not want you to have access to a free and open medical market, because they know if you did, by virtue of the nature of the free medical market, within 5, 6, 7 years, the MDs with general family practices would be out of a job because their therapeutics don't work. They do not work, not for chronic disease. You got a bullet in your arm, you have a broken leg, they're the people you go to. That's their thing, that's their wheelhouse, that's what they're good at. Remember, however, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Harvard University came out with a study, I think a year and a half ago, maybe longer. Over 50% of emergency room medical doctors are addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription meds. Over half. So even at the stuff that they're good at, they're screwing it up. It should be mandatory for an emergency room medical practitioner, whether they're a nurse, whether they're an orderly, whether they're a doctor, have to be drug tested every day that they come into work. Pee in a cup. But that's not going to happen because that doesn't happen to the king. It's good to be king. King can do whatever the king wants to do. And when the king screws up, no harm, no foul. Ladies and gentlemen, fire your medical doctor today. Get on board with us and let me teach you the simple steps necessary to optimize your body's awesome, built-in, God-given ability to fix itself. I am Dr. Peter Glidden. I am the Red Pill. It's time we all snapped out of the medical matrix. Stick around. Feeling good? Well, I'm glad that you're feeling good because most people in the United States are not. Most people in the United States are suffering needlessly. People are suffering needlessly because they've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. They've taken the wrong dog to the hunt. We are the right dog for the hunt. If you're dealing with a chronic disease, fire your medical doctor and get in touch with us because we have science-based, clinically verified, holistic health recovery strategies, boilerplate, foundation, medical nutrition for the masses, treatment strategies that were developed by the physician, the naturopathic physician who literally wrote the book on medical nutrition. And by the way, that book cost $25 million, took 10 years of research to compile, and is now a national treasure. It exists in the Smithsonian Institution. T-Ray from California is up first. Let's go right to the phones. Hey, T-Ray, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. How are you?
Well, I'm good, but I'll get better, God willing, and the creek don't rise. What's happening in California?
Nothing. Just getting ready to get the kids back to school. That's all.
All right. How can I help?
Yes, first I just wanted to say thank you for just helping us out. My husband got diagnosed in June with kidney failure, with his kidneys only functioning at 12%. And they also mentioned that he had high blood pressure. And we found out about you guys, about longevity, literally the night before we went in for his evaluation, and everything that we watched from Dr. Wallach and everything that you mentioned is basically what they did. They said they're going to start dialysis in 6 months, and they're going to pop him on the list as quick as they can, and they did. And we were, we do have really good insurance, which is not a good thing. We do realize that now. So we just want to say thank you for that, and I'm helping us out getting started with the supplements. Unfortunately, my husband's still getting gout attacks. As of right now, it's in his right leg, and for the first time, it's in his right knee.
How do you know it's gout?
Because he says it feels the same. I mean, it started to look a little swollen and a little red, and he started to have gout in his foot last week. Like he felt it Thursday evening, but a little stronger Friday morning, and it went away. But now that's gone, and now it's in his right knee, and this is the first time he's ever felt it there.
And when it normally shows up, is it normally in his, it's always in his right side of his body?
Yeah, and when that's what caused us to go to the ER the very first time when they told us of the high blood pressure. Then a few days later, with a follow-up from the doctor, they told us it was his kidneys, and it was all on his right side. Even then, I mean, it went away. We watched his protein intake. We switched from the from the ESAs to the multi-ESAs of the primrose oil, like you mentioned. And we're just trying to figure out, we're doing everything, the cherry juice and all, everything, antioxidants. We're doing all of that. We're doing the ice application, but we just want to get rid of this sucker.
Okay, and you're guaranteed drop dead that it's a gout attack and it's in his right knee?
Yes.
Okay. And when you look at it, is it red and swollen, or does it look like a normal? I mean, what's it look like when you look at it?
As of right now, it looks a little better. But yesterday, yes, it was swollen, and it was a little red yesterday. But we ice overnight. I just took the ice pack off. He says it feels a little better, but it could be gone too at the same time. I mean, we have colchicine. They gave us that. Vicodin, you name it, but we don't want to take it because obviously the doctor told us last week it has no effect on his kidneys, but we researched on our own like you suggested for us to do, and it's really not good for his kidneys. He's taking allopurinol. He takes the metoprolol. We totally thrown out the amlodipine because that's what was causing the lightheadedness, the dizziness, and caused us 3 visits to the ER in 2 weeks. They just told us that he was dehydrated, and that's why his blood pressure rose. And when we were there last Monday, his blood pressure went up again. They didn't mention anything about dehydration, and the doctor said with his kidneys, go on with the transplant, and he really doesn't know why his kidneys are that bad. Again, he kept wiping his face, playing with his nose. I don't know if he was on drugs. But at the same time, we were asking a lot of questions about it.
All right. Well, I have some questions for you here. When his knee was, at its worst, did the knee to him feel hot? Did it feel normal, or did it feel cold?
Did your knee feel hot, normal, or cold? Your knee when it was hot.
It was hot. And is there still a sensation of heat in the part?
Do you still have a sensation of that heat in your part? Not anymore.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, so here's what I'd like him to do. I'd like him to do some homeopathic sulfur, S like Sam, ULPHUR, homeopathic sulfur.
Okay.
In the 30C strength, have him take 2 pellets 3 times a day for 3 days. 2 pellets 3 times a day for 3 days to see if that doesn't help get on to support and promote the structure and function of the knee. That's either going to help or it's not going to help. But remember, from our point of view, all of these conditions, right, the kidney condition and, the chronic gout that they're giving him allopurinol for, and everything else that's been bothering him has taken years, if not decades, to have accumulated badness to finally show up, right? It's like the straws that broke the camel's back. This
Right.
stuff has been happening to his body for decades, and then finally he wakes up one day and he's in the weeds. He's got gout. He's got a degenerative kidney disease. He's got, something is a big bad voodoo daddy in his body now, and it's not genetic. It took years, if not decades, for all of this hurt and trouble to build up to the point where his system broke. So when we intervene with holistic medicine, when we intervene with a strategy, the intention of which is to support and promote the structure and function of the human body, to give the human body a fighting chance to fix itself and to fight back, that is a process. It is not an event. It's going to take time. Now, the old-time naturopath said it takes approximately 1 month for every year that you've had the problem to get on the other side of it. So, I don't know, how long's he had gout for?
His first gout attack when we had our son in 4, 5, 6, maybe like in 2008, he had one then, and
All
then
right,
went away. And
all right, so
then
that's 6 years
lately-
ago, right? So this is going to take at least six months for him to get on the other side of this. You
Okay.
just need to maintain the discipline, and this is, I think, the biggest disconnect that people have with the holistic method, because we're just not used to it. You know, what we're used to is we have a problem, we go to the MD gives us a drug, the drug doesn't cure it, but it takes away our symptoms in like 3 hours, right? You take the Tylenol and the headache's gone pretty rapidly. You take the Prilosec and the heartburn's gone pretty rapidly. Well, there's a gigantic difference between medicating symptoms into submission and stimulating the body's ability to fix itself, right? I mean, I can blow up a
Right.
house in 3 seconds. It might take me 9 months, 10 months, 11 months, or a year to build the house. So, so what we want to look to see here with your husband, with anybody else who's fed up with conventional medicine and who wants to give, a holistic option a try, inside of the first 90 days, inside of the first 3 months, we look to see something. We look to
Right.
see something somewhere improve. Mood, energy, appetite, sleep, or, the arthritic pain, or the high blood pressure numbers, or whatever. As long as we see something dramatic and remarkable improve, that's a herald that we're on the right track. And really, the most important thing for him after that is just slow and steady wins the race. So
Awesome.
my counsel to you would be to increase your knowledge base about antioxidants.
Okay.
Increase your understanding about antioxidants, and make sure he is consuming 100,000 ORAC points, ORAC, of antioxidants a day. 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. Now, as an insider, on my website, I have a webinar that explains that. I have a whole chapter in my book that explains that. It's a pretty easy thing to understand. If you can pass the driver's license test, you can understand what antioxidants are. So, in addition to what he's already doing, he's doing the Ultimate Daily Capsules, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So in addition to what you're already doing, just have an eye towards 100,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. Give the homeopathic sulfur a run for its money. See if that doesn't help him with this, gouty attack. And, keep your fingers crossed, really.
Okay, and I do have one more question. So as far as the detoxing, one of the reps mentioned that, he's going to be flushing out a lot. I mean, even up until now, like...
No, that's
going. Like,
baloney.
it's
That's
coming up.
nonsense. I don't know who told you that, but it's an old wives' tale. It's not going to happen. He's not going to have a detoxification reaction. He's not going to have a Herxheimer reaction. He's not going to have, that's nonsense. In some cases, stuff like that happens. Do not expect that with him. If anything negative happens, it's either because the genesis of his body just isn't up to speed yet, and the disease process still has the upper hand. Mm-hmm. It's got nothing to do with detox. That's a foolish notion. It's just a foolish notion, but it's rampant. There are a lot of people that, the body's going to detox after you do a vitamin program. Baloney. It's not going to do that. And so a good medical nutrition intervention should be painless. There should be no negative side effects, and it should do nothing but generate niceness, right? It should, I'm sleeping a little better. My joint pain's a little better, and it's like that.
And he has, yeah.
So we just need to maintain the discipline and keep the fingers crossed. Go for more antioxidants and up the ante with the homeopathic sulfur T-Ray. You are awesome. North Carolina's up next. Let's talk to Tina. Hey, Tina, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I have, in the last 6 months, had some ferritin, very low levels. Mine is actually a 6.
Yeah.
And I'm a 6-year cancer survivor, and I've had gastric bypass 5 years ago.
Yep.
And now I have low iron absorption problems as well. And the doctor contacted me today and told me they need to do an upper and lower GI on me. And I have been taking natural iron, and nothing's helping. It's not getting better. It's not getting worse. It's still staying the 6. And so I just need to know if there's something else I can do to help with that problem before we actually do anything different with the doctor.
Well, the different thing you want to do with the doctor is fire the doctor, because any doctor that recommends you have a gastric bypass surgery has their head so far up their backside, they're going to need LEDs for eyes in order to see in the dark. That's just really a ridiculous recommendation for a treatment. It's really juvenile, it's old-fashioned, it's outdated, it doesn't get to the root cause of the illness. And since they've done that to you, your body is going to be compromised in its ability to absorb nutrients, not the least of which would be iron, right? So undoubtedly, the reason that your body is having trouble metabolizing iron or absorbing iron is because of the gastric bypass, but there is a workaround for that. So glad that you found us. So glad that you called. Stick around. We're up against a hard break right now. I'll dial this in for you when we come back, Tina. Thanks so much for the call. Just stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dr. Peter Glidden. It's time to get real. It's time to take your health back with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. It should be illegal for your medical doctor to say that they practice healthcare, because they don't. They practice disease management. There's a gigantic difference. I mean, if there were big letters on the side of your hospital, St. Jude's disease management, you'd think twice about going there, wouldn't you? But when it says healthcare, you're all in. It's false advertising. Quite frankly, when I win the lottery and have $100 million in my bank account, I'm going to start suing people left and right. Because as God is my witness, it's time that we took action, non-militant social action. What did Henry David Thoreau advocate? What was it? What's the term that he used? I'll think of it in a minute. Don't get me started. Looks like I'm already started. I think it was North Carolina that I was talking to. Tina, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the recommendation here is, your digestive tract, my digestive tract, everybody's digestive tract is like a series of dominoes. And, one domino knocks the other over, knocks the other over, knocks the other over. And because of the gastric bypass that you've had, they just removed a couple of the dominoes. Mm-hmm. So everything downstream from that is going to be funky now unless you get the right medical nutrition support. And this should really make things a great deal different for you. But because of the gastric bypass, we need to start slowly and give your body kind of a small dose of the nutritional supplements and see how you handle it, and then kind of up the ante and up the ante and up the ante until we're at the full metabolic dose. So what's your current body weight?
I'm at 192.
All right, awesome. That's really great. How much do you weigh? How tall are you?
I'm 5'6.5" now.
Okay.
I've 2 inches in the last 4 years.
You lost 2 inches?
Yes.
Yeah,
and I also now have degenerative arthritis.
Yeah, well, that's the same process that made you shrink. It's degenerative arthritis, and people get degenerative arthritis because their bodies run out of the nutrients that their bones need in order to stay healthy, and gastric bypass will accelerate that. So the gastric bypass here really is, at the root cause of a lot of things here. And, we can't go back in time, but we can take steps forward right now in order to give your body a leg up, which it desperately needs. So here's what I would do to start with. I would buy 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 and 1 bottle of something called Cal Toddy. That's CalToddy. 1 bottle of Cal Toddy. 1 bottle of Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, and 1 bottle of Projoba Omega. That's Projoba Omega, Omega. Now that's a fish oil capsule, and I would take 1 of those 3 times a day with a meal. The Cal Toddy, I would take 1 tablespoon in 1 ounce of orange juice 4 times a day, with the final tablespoon being immediately before bed. 1 tablespoon in 1 ounce of orange juice 4 times a day, with the final tablespoon being immediately before bed. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0, I would put 2 scoops into 32 ounces of cold water. 2 scoops into 32 ounces of cold water. Put some ice in there, keep it cold. And all day long, I want you to sip on that. I want you to be sipping on that from 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. 9 o'clock in the morning until 6 o'clock at night. I want you to take 9 hours to drink that down. 2 level scoops in 32 ounces of water with ice in it. Sip from it slowly over the course of the day. Take 9 hours to drink that all down. And once you've done that, Tina, for 4 weeks in a row, call me back on the radio. Tell me how you're feeling, and we'll take the next step. Remember, this is a holistic medical intervention, and so you want to look to see how this stuff makes you feel. Your mood, your energy, your sleep, your appetite, your weight, and everything else that's bothering you. Just take this stuff every day. Actually, 21 days is plenty of time for you to see effects. Call me back anytime after the 3rd week, and I will look forward to it. Stick around, folks. Second hour is coming up. Check out the live video stream, thedrgliddenshow.tv. I'm a big Sasquatch believer, by the way. If you have a Sasquatch sighting story, I need to hear it. I have to do something to maintain my sanity in my downtime. Otherwise, I'm going to go crazy from just watching so much unbelievable human suffering roll out before my unsuspecting eyes every single solitary day. I have to do something to maintain my insanity. I choose golf and Sasquatch hunting. So if you have a Bigfoot story, I want to hear it. Let's go back to the phones. Mary from Oregon is calling. Hey, Mary, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Yesterday you asked me to call back about my daughter who's nursing and she wants to take Sweeties.
Yeah, and I called Richard Renton, left a message, haven't heard back. So I still don't have the answer, and it's bugging me. I was thinking about this all day. Oh, I know Mary from Oregon's going to call back, but, there's only so much I can do. Youngevity's really busy right now with they're getting ready for next month's convention, and there's a bunch of other stuff that's in the pipes. Youngevity is always Johnny on the spot with calling me back. So, it's just bad timing. But as soon as I know the answer to this, I'm going to talk about it on the radio. I'll talk about it in the very first segment, okay? So you don't need to keep calling me back. I'm always happy to answer your calls, Mary, because you're such a Youngevity supporter. But in any event, keep your fingers crossed. As soon as I get the word on that, I'll let you know. Does that sound like a deal?
That works perfectly because I listen to every single one of your podcasts.
I told you were the smartest woman in Oregon. There you go. Thank you so very much. Texas is up next. Let's go and talk to Blake. Hey, Blake, thanks for the phone call.
Yeah,
Come on
Dr.
in, Blake. Hey, Blake.
Hey, Dr. Glenn. I've been on Youngevity for about a year and a half now.
All right, Blake,
And,
before I let you ask your question, I'm going to ask you one. What part of Texas do you live in?
I live in Dallas.
And what's your horse's name?
Dallas, Fort Worth.
What's your horse's name?
Ed.
Ed. Everybody in Texas owns a horse, don't they? Oh, no, wait a minute. That's a
And
gun.
saddle.
Everybody in Texas has a
At least one
gun.
saddle and a gun, yeah.
All right, so what's...
Shoot sometime if you come down here.
So what's the question, man? How can I help?
So I've been on Youngevity for about a year, taking my health back,
Great.
you know, like everybody else. I was really skeptical before, but, you know, truth's in the eating, right?
Well, all right. So the listeners don't know. So, you know, before we get to the question, tell people what you've experienced, you know, since you've been taking Youngevity.
Well, I have experienced, well, first of all, I found out what gluten intolerance was from Dr. Wallach. You know, that doesn't even make the front page of the news when, you know, half the country probably has it. If not half, you know, probably more than that. But, you know, I had a heart attack when I was 20 years old, and they never could figure out why.
Right.
And I was just, you know, a normal guy, played college athletics.
Right.
I just had a heart attack. And it was like, oh, we don't know why. So
We know why, right?
Yeah. So I meet Dr. Wallach, and he goes, oh, you're just mentally deficient. And I'm just like, okay. Like, great, what do I do about it? He's like, it's not really all that hard. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not all that hard? And so I've been doing it for a year, and I mean, I'm 30 now, and I can't really believe that I feel like I have more control over my health, and I feel better than I did for the past, you know, 30 years.
Right.
I mean, I haven't felt this good ever.
Right.
So, my question was, I've been curious, you know, you and Dr. Wallach always say the body wants to heal itself. It wants to heal itself. All we need to do is give it the raw materials. So then I started thinking about antioxidants, and, you know, you and Dr. Wallach are huge on antioxidants and things like that. And I had no idea. I was researching just one day, and I came up on glutathione.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never, like, I mean, it's like I've heard about it, but it's no, you know, it's like, what do you think about that? And does being on the 90 help your body be in a good position to produce glutathione and all that? Because nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, I know. Naturopathic doctors are talking about this. We've been talking about glutathione ever since I was in school in 1987, I learned about glutathione, right? So this is a common thing in naturopathy, in the practice of naturopathic medicine. But of course, like everything else that's correct, it hasn't trickled down into the mainstream yet. So it's a great thing to talk about, and it's a very important thing to understand. Okay, so the human body has a fire department, and it also has a police department. The police department is the immune system. The fire department is your body's antioxidant generating facility. Your body, in addition to having an immune system which fights bad guys, right, fights bacteria, fights viral infections, fights pathogenic organisms that find its way into your body, that's the police department. Your body also has a fire department, and the fire department's job is to put out the fires of inflammation before they burn the house down. So, the main player in your body's fire department, like the captain of the fire department of your body, is glutathione. Glutathione is a substance that the body produces, and glutathione neutralizes free radicals. Glutathione neutralizes free radicals, and free radicals cause inflammation in the human body. However, every time glutathione neutralizes a free radical and puts out that inflammatory process, it becomes destroyed. unless there is also in the vicinity selenium. When selenium is present, glutathione attaches to a free radical, neutralizes it, becomes destroyed, and selenium recycles it. It's like selenium brings it back to life, and the glutathione rises from the dead like Lazarus and is able to neutralize another free radical. So selenium is of maximum importance here to increase your body's glutathione activity. And it's kind of like just making sure that, you know, there's water in the fire hydrant that the fire department hooks up to when they come to your house and it's burning down. You got to have the water in there, or the firemen are just going to be standing around watching the house burn to the ground. So if you have selenium in your body in adequate amounts, then your glutathione is going to be good. And if glutathione is good, everything is good. So selenium here is of maximum importance if we're attempting to optimize the fire department of the body, which is something that everybody needs to be talking about, but nobody is. Most people don't even have any idea that the body has a fire department, let alone know how it works. Right now, interestingly enough, the longest lived people in the world, right? There are pockets of cultures around the world where, you know, they live to be 100 years of age, and that's the norm, and they're healthy. They're not sitting in wheelchairs drooling, can't remember the names of their kids like we are here in the United States and Canada and the European Union, right? The people like the Vilcabambas in Peru, the Georgians in Russia, the Bama people in southwestern China, and the somebody else in Okinawa, I can't remember. But, right, these people live extremely long lives. There were two things that they were doing by accident which increased their life expectancy. Number one, they were eating food, something. In every culture, it was different. The Bama people, they drank this homemade wine with snake skins in it. The Okinawans ate sweet potatoes. The Vilcabambas had this chocolate, right? There's not Hershey's chocolate, but, you know, Aztec chocolate, right? And the stuff that they were eating by accident was loaded with antioxidants, And that's another thing that you can do to help the fire department of the body. In addition to giving it selenium, if you import antioxidants into the body, the antioxidants also put out the fires of inflammation, and it's the fires of inflammation which cause chronic disease. So the better your fire department is, the less chronic disease you're going to have, and the longer you're going to live, and life is good. So all of these people were consuming a minimum of 20,000 ORAC points of antioxidants a day, just because that's what their life was. The average North American gets 1,500 ORAC points of antioxidants a day. We die in our 80s after we've been suffering for 20 years.
Right.
These longest-lived people, right, they get 20,000 ORAC, and they live to be over 100, and they're healthy. There was one more thing that they were doing, and nobody but Dr. Wallach noticed this. Nobody but Dr. Wallach noticed this. You know, Wallach's been published over 72 times. He's written, 12 books now. He's got a book in the Smithsonian Institution. He's a legend. And in my opinion, the single most important thing that Dr. Wallach has brought to humanity is his understanding of plant minerals. Because all of these indigenous cultures, in addition to, you know, by accident consuming food loaded with antioxidants, they also consumed wood ash because they heated and they cooked with wood. And indigenous people use everything. So the fire would burn down, and they'd collect the ash from the fire. The white ash in the middle of the fire they'd put in their soups and in their stews and in their breads. It's called potash. And the gray ash on the periphery of the fire they would put in their gardens. Well, what the heck does that have to do with anything? Well, wood ash is 99.99% minerals. Because the plant's growing in the soil, the plant sucks minerals out of the soil, and it uses them to help itself grow. And then you cut the plant down, you cut the tree down, and you burn it. You burn the sugars and the cellulose and the fibers, but you can't degrade a mineral in a fire. You need a blast furnace to do that. So wood ash is mostly minerals. So the indigenous people, again by accident, because they put wood ash into their food, were mineralized. Their bodies were mineralized. And this all went away when we started using electricity. It's like an unintended consequence of using electricity. So no more fires, no more wood ash, no more culinary ash, and now chronic disease is skyrocketing. Why is this? Because everybody's body is under-mineralized, and this is why Dr. Wallach is a flippin' genius. Keep up the good work, Blake. You are the last best hope. So much to know, so much to understand. Did you know that butter is good for you? Did you know that lard is good for you? Did you know that salt is good for you? Did you know that oil and fried food will kill you? Stop eating olive oil. Stop eating salad dressing. Don't even be downwind of anything cooked in a fryolator or a fry pan using oil that's heated. You want to cook up a nice piece of fish in a skillet, use butter or lard, nada problema. You use oil, you're going to die, sucker. But before you die, you're going to suffer, and then you're going to die. And if you want a video which explains that, go to my website, drglidden.com. On the sidebar, if you sign up for my newsletter, you give me your email address, we will email you a link to 2 videos that I did. They're free. We need your email address. I'll email you a link to 2 videos that I produced that explain to you why olive oil is bad, and in addition to that, why there are 9 other foods that are going to kill you. It's free, drglidden.com. In the right-hand column of the page at the very top, give us your email address, sign up for my newsletter, and get a clue, because we desperately need it, because the pharmaceutical industry has played us big time bad. And again, it's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. Thank God for penicillin, thank God for Novocaine, thank God for the sterile technique. The way that MDs use drugs, leading cause of death in the United States. California's up again. Bernice, her father was hospitalized. Hey, Bernice, what's up?
Hi, this is Bernice. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. What's going on?
Hi. So I was calling regarding my father's hospitalization 7+ days ago. I don't even want to give the exact amount of time. And I give it up to the Lord Jesus that every test that they have done has been negative. They are mind blown. They're mind blown, and their insistence is in not discharging him due to the fact that he has a little persistent fever temperature. It goes up to 101, 102. It's gone up as far as 104, but mostly 101, 102, 101. And it's been this way for about a week, about 5 days, because it was a little more inconsistent a few days back. So, I mean, of course, he's frustrated and all. And I'm like, Dad, what? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. It's time for you to go home. And he says, well, I can't. They don't want to discharge him because of this persistent fever.
That's not why they don't want to discharge him. They don't want to discharge him because it's after the 15th of the month. And after the 15th of the month, they need to meet a certain quota. A doctor, who works with a hospital, in order to continue to be able to admit patients to the hospital, has to order so many diagnostic tests, has to admit so many patients, has to perform so many procedures every month. And if they don't, they can no longer admit. So more likely than not, people are kept in the hospital or the emergency room. They're kept overnight. Their extra procedures are done that would be done in a country with socialized medicine. They would never do this much stuff in Canada as they do in the United States. They do it to pad the bill, period. Keeping somebody in the hospital with a low-grade fever, just for the rest of their life, that's criminal. So my advice, he gets up and walks the hell out. He gets up and leaves.
And, I mean, from an endoscopy, colonoscopy, CT scan, MRI, this and that, this and this. And thank God Almighty, in the name of Jesus, everything has been negative.
Until you get the bill, then he's going to have a heart attack.
Yeah. The other reason attached to the low-grade fever is, there is somewhat of an anemia. And then just a day ago, the other doctor said, okay, your red blood cells are back to normal. Everything's looking good. Just put some effort in it. Start walking, and you'll be you'll be put put down to the first floor for physical therapy.
Yeah. Oh, great.
To
So
make
he must
sure
have
that-
really good insurance. Does he have really good insurance?
You know what? I suppose I could give you the name of the company, and you might.
Well,
know
I mean,
more
I
than
don't know.
do.
Different. So I'm going to bet you that he has really good insurance, and they're just milking it. They're milking it as much as they can. Now, again, this
So,
is a
now,
testament.
Yes.
I mean, to their mind control. I mean, I don't want to sound like an Orwellian, but for goodness
and then
sake.
of course my dad, through this whole thing, he's been more moved by what they say until yesterday. Even they even did due to the somewhat of anemia count or whatever, they ran the spine tap to see if bone marrow, and they said the bone marrow came back normal. There's no sign of leukemia, this and that. They did emphasize this as well. They said it's just this one particular cell, a monocyte, I think they called it, monocyte.
Oh, my God. We're up against a hard break, Bernice. Stick around. More of your horror story, or your dad's horror story, when we come back. Stick around, folks. The MDs don't want naturopathic medicine licensed in all 50 states because they know that if we did, we'd actually have a free medical market and people would slowly start gravitating away from their ridiculous therapeutics like they're giving to Bernice's father in California. Bernice, while your dad's in the hospital, there's nothing I can do for him because they won't allow him to take anything except what they prescribe when he's hospitalized.
Right.
So I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, and what's this monocyte cell, this one unknown cell that appears? First, originally they said...
Well, I'll tell you what it is. I don't care, Bernice. I'll tell you what it is.
Yes.
It's two words. The first word rhymes with...
Mono.
No, the first word rhymes with pull, and the second word rhymes with hit. That's what it is. The first word rhymes with pull, and the second word rhymes with hit. That's what it is. It's BS. It's baloney. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
It's starter.
Yeah, they said first they said this. Just what day is this? What day? We're the second day of the week, Tuesday. Okay, so Sunday was the last day that the other doctor had a full day 7 cycle with him, or 6-day shift with him. And he said, "Oh, okay, sir. Well, everything's looking normal." He said, "I would have already discharged you. It's just this little fever keeps coming back." And he says, "But there's no trace of infection in your blood anymore. Your blood levels are normal." So he says, "Just put a little effort, start walking, and that's it." But if this fever would have already gone away. That's that. That was Sunday. Today, Tuesday, with this meeting of the minds with them and us, the family members, they said, "Well, all the tests are negative, and it's just really blowing our minds. It really has us puzzled. This is a mystery." They said, "But all of his blood tests are not normal." And I'm thinking, what? You're saying every darn test that every machine that's out there has been negative, yet the blood tests are not normal due to one monocyte cell.
So here's what you need to do, Bernice. You need to find Bernice.
The infection was gone. Yes.
Bernice, you need to find a good lawyer. You need to find a good lawyer, and you need to take the hospital to task because they're padding the bill, they're incompetent, and they need to be taken to the mat. If it were my father, that's what I would do, quite frankly.
Okay.
I appreciate everything that you do. What are you going to do? I mean, everybody needs to stop the 10 bad foods. And everybody needs to be on the Healthy Start Pack and selenium appropriate for body weight. Now, to give extra immune support, which may be necessary here in somebody with a chronically elevated oral temperature, do one bottle of Killer Biotic per 100 pounds of body weight for 4 weeks. One bottle of Killer Biotic, and emphasize a diet high in protein because the immune system is made out of protein. The immune system is made out of protein. He should also restrict any extracurricular sugar consumption because sugar depresses immune function.
Right now, he's repelling sugar. He's like, "Don't give me anything sweet."
Gotta love it. Give him more protein. Give him the Killer Biotic. Make sure he stays away from the 10 bad foods.
Where do I get the Killer Biotic? Where do I get that?
That's a Longevity product.
Oh, it is. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
it's
go
called
through my-
Ultimate Killer Biotic. Yeah, one of those per 100
Biotic,
pounds
okay.
of body weight per month. You're the greatest. Keep up the good work. We're going to stay in California now with Madru, our old friend Madru. Madru, it's about time you called back. Where have you been?
Well, you're not in on Fridays, and so I've been calling on Fridays.
All right. Well, that's fair enough. What's going on?
Well, Dr. Wallach's going to be out here for 3 days.
Gotta love it, right?
Friday, and Saturday, yes. And I'm geared up. I got a ton of grabbing nurses, and they're grabbing other people, and this is how we're going to do it, okay?
Gotta love it.
But anyway, I got to tell you, I've got a lady. Her mother's 82. She had a hip replacement, and they want to do another hip replacement. And so I said, no, So she's back east somewhere, and she wants to get the product. So she weighs under 100 pounds. She's about maybe 5'4".
How old is she?
About 82.
Well, all right. So we can
There's not
assume.
any diabetes or anything. Nothing.
All right. Well, all right. So we can assume, right, that everybody, the majority of people in the population have a gluten intolerance, and they don't know that they have a gluten intolerance.
Right.
And she's been eating gluten for 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably 80 years of damage to her intestinal villi that's in play here. And so because of that, we should lean towards as many liquid nutritional supplements as possible, because liquid nutritional supplements are much more easily absorbed by the human body, right? So in order to support and promote healthy bone and joint function, the recommendation for her, the best thing for her to do would be one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. Mm-hmm. Make sure it's a liquid. The Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. One of those.
Mm-hmm.
2 bottles of liquid Glucogel Plus.
Okay.
1 bottle of plant-derived minerals.
Okay.
2 bottles of Ultimate Selenium.
Okay.
And if there is pain present,
Right. There is.
you can get the CM cream and apply it topically.
Okay. I got it.
Oh, that's what you do. But also, she needs to be advised about the nastiness of the 10 bad foods, and you can just send her a link to my free video on that, right?
I sent it to it already.
Well, there you go. And also, anybody that has any type of a chronic arthritic thing going on anywhere in the body, they need to just be deathly afraid of soda pop. Zero tolerance for soda pop.
Brittles those bones.
Yeah, I know. It's bad stuff. And, bisphosphonates, things like Fosamax and Boniva, that's just foolishness.
Yes.
Yeah. That's all you need to do. You knew that, though, Madru. I knew you just wanted to talk to me.
I want them to hear it. I want them to call in and hear it, okay? Because I tell them, and they're like, okay. But
Hey, listen, tell me, call back after Dr. Wallach's in town and give the world a report about how he was received and what happened.
I will. Thank you so
All right,
much.
I'll look forward to it. Appreciate you, Madru. Keep up the good work. This is how we're doing it, folks. We're generating a grassroots coalition of the informed, people all over the world, people just like you, who are sick and tired of being sick and tired of getting worse and worse and worse, having to take more and more drugs, have the MDs are clueless about what causes it. Oh, I don't know. We just did $10,000 worth of blood work. I have no idea why you have a high fever, but we're going to keep you in the hospital for the rest of your life until we figure it out. You have really good insurance, by the way. Oh, and then when the insurance runs out, we'll have to kick you out. But, that's just what we do. And we put up with it because we don't know any better, and because for most people in the United States, there are 37 states that do not license nor recognize naturopathic medicine. Most people don't even know how to pronounce naturopathy, let alone know what it is. So people think that the MD is the only show in town, and the MD must be the best at what they do, and that the MD equals medicine, and it's not true. Your medical doctor may be the nicest person God ever created, but they don't know what's best for you. They only know what they've been trained in. And as it turns out, what they've been trained in is really good for trauma and surgery when the MD is not addicted to street drugs, alcohol, or prescription medicine. As Harvard University says, over 50% of them are. For chronic diseases, they suck, and they should be abandoned. Not only should they be abandoned, quite frankly, they should be taken to court. But, it's not a perfect world. Graciela in Florida is up next. There's a lovely little name. Graciela, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
No, it's Graciela.
Graciela. All right,
Yes.
I'm going to get my phone. I'm going to have my phone. All right, Graciela. That's even a prettier name. What
I'm
part
in
of
the
Florida do you
top
live in?
I live in Trinity near Tampa.
Oh, very nice.
I'm
How's your
the same
summer
one
been
in the
so
chapel.
far?
It's been hot, super hot, crazy hot.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's going to get better.
Well, I'll call you in December, and I don't think you're going to feel so bad.
I will love that. I love December. I usually go to Brazil in the summer because then it's winter there, so I get 2 winters every time. So
Yeah, very nice.
my mother is coming from Brazil, and I want her to get in with the longevity program. And my question is, because she has different things, I don't know which package to get. She has thinning hair, very little on the top, and it falls a lot. She had shoulder and knee surgery before, and now her other arm is getting numb when she sleeps.
Right.
She also has cataracts, and the only organ that she doesn't have is her uterus. So I don't know.
Yeah, so, decades of conventional medicine at play here, and look how healthy it's made her, right? I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, right, the older that we get, the sicker we get. And because it happens to everybody, we think that, well, this is just the way that it is. Well, and in direct contradistinction to this exists Dr. Wallach, who at 75 years of age is healthier than most people are when they're 30. Quite frankly, this has become, again, reality by consensus, and we've all gotten used to medical mediocrity because the MDs monopolize the medical theater. So the monopolization of medicine leads to MD mediocrity. And this is why they still are in power, because, it's good to be the king and nobody questions it when they screw up, and they screw up all the freaking time. I mean, come on, first one hip and then the next hip, and then the cataracts go, and then the blood pressure, and then fibromyalgia, then I can't sleep at night, and then I'm depressed, and then I get heartburn. It's like this. I mean, for goodness sake, we need prescription medicines to fall asleep, prescription medicines to wake up, prescription medicines to pee, prescription medicines not to pee, prescription medicines for the pain, prescription medicines for the heartburn, prescription medicines for the high blood pressure, prescription medications for the high blood sugar. When's it going to stop? It's never is when it's going to stop, because it's good to be king, and nobody knows that there are, in fact, science-based, clinically verified alternatives to this insanity. So how much does your mother weigh, Graciela?
She's probably like 130, and she's 5'2".
Okay, so cataracts, sometimes you can get on the other side of that, and sometimes you can't. I personally have never treated a patient for a cataract and seen it go away. However, when I have been lecturing around the world over the last 5 years, I've given, I think, between 150 and 200 lectures all over the world. People have come up to me at the breaks and tell me that they used to have cataracts and that they went away with a medical nutrition intervention. So I've never seen it, but I have no reason to believe that these people were lying to me. So perhaps it's possible that she can get on the other side of that. We believe that the genesis of the cataract formation is caused by oxidative damage to the human body, to too many free radicals in the blood, and a weak fire department of the human body. So she needs to have antioxidant support, and, the fire department of the body needs to be supported. She also needs a massive amount of, well, not a massive amount, but a therapeutic amount of bone and joint support, because, her hips are gone, and that game is still afoot. Now, because of her body weight and her age, the recommendation would be one Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, one of those. The Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. Make sure it's liquid.
Okay.
One of those. 3 liquid Glucogel Plus. 3 liquid Glucogel Plus. 3 selenium. And 1 immortalium. Actually, you know what? She's from Brazil, so give her some Triple Treat chocolate also. Give her some Triple Treat chocolate. Because,
That will help with the hair, too, the thinning hair?
Yeah, the thinning hair, we believe, is just chronic, across-the-board nutrient deficiencies. I believe she's going to feel remarkably different in 90 days. Well, you did it again, ladies and gentlemen. You wasted another perfectly 2 good hours with me. Hope you learned something. Hope you had fun. I'm on a little bit of a tear today. I don't know why I go on tears every once in a while. It's just my nature. Appreciate your support. Appreciate your listenership. Appreciate your viewership. Really appreciate your Youngevity membership and your insider subscription purchases. We are out to make a big splash in the world of human suffering. It sounds a lot more grandiose than it is because people are suffering needlessly. And what we bring into the theater are boilerplate medical nutrition strategies for the masses. Boilerplate medical nutrition for the masses, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Let's finish it up with Jim in Indiana. Hey, Jim, thanks for the call. You are live.
Hey, Doc, how you doing today, bud?
Pretty good, man. What's up?
I got something simple for you. Last week I got into some poison ivy.
Oh.
And yeah, buddy, it's on my arms, my legs.
Oh. Do you have any idea of my experience of poison ivy?
No.
Oh, man. I have had poison ivy bad, probably 10 times in my life. I mean, I look at poison ivy and I get it. Well, that's not true. Cancel. It's not that bad yet. I've tried a lot of different things to get on the other side of poison ivy. I've never seen anything work. The one thing that I haven't tried, which I'm going to try the next time I get it, heaven forbid I get it, is called it's an herbal medicine. It grows right next to poison ivy. The common name is Touch Me Not. And I can't believe I'm having a mental block on it because I was just looking this stuff up yesterday. I'm going to think about it in a second, but this herbal medicine, if you get a tincture of this medicine or just collect some, chop it up and boil it, you'll get a yellow liquid, and then if you pour the yellow liquid, if you make it cold, put it in the fridge, cool it down, and then spray the liquid onto the surface of the skin that's been affected by the poison ivy, it will help it a great deal. Let me get the name for that because this is just going to make me crazy. Hold on.
Obviously I got people telling me, you need to go to the doctor.
No, you don't need to go to... It's called jewelweed. Jewelweed is the name of it. Jewelweed. You can also get it. Online. You can probably get a bottle of, the tincture of jewelweed. That's the one thing I haven't tried that people that have been suffering from poison ivy have told me that works. Okay. You want to apply that liberally, but other than that, man, it's just 2 weeks of pain and suffering. It's just 2 weeks of pain and suffering.
I only got a week to go.
Does it feel much better if you run it like under hot scalding water?
It feels great.
Man.
It feels soothing.
I know. I would get up in the middle of the night when I had bad poison ivy. It was like I'm, just turn the hot water on, no cold water, and just run the part of my body that had the poison ivy on it like that. It felt so good for like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, man. What are you going to do? That's the only thing that I haven't tried that people testify to. So I'd get some jewelweed, spray it on, and call me back and tell me what happened.
All right, I will.
All right, good luck. I appreciate the phone call very, very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is how we do it. One person at a time, one mind at a time, one body at a time. And as God is my witness, the only reason that the naturopathic medical profession exists, the only reason that Youngevity exists, and not only exists but thrives and breaks sales records every month, is because it works. It works. It's a hostile political climate lined up against anything holistic. Give your body a chance. Let the proof of the pudding be in the eating. Give Youngevity a chance. Call 855-347-3696 or call the number that your radio station, your terrestrial radio station, is advertising to get more information. And if you were directed here by a member of Youngevity Nation, get with them to see what the next step for you is. Until we meet again, I remain your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Live long and prosper.